On the news, Buhari hosts Igbo leaders, promises to consider Nnamdi Kanu's release. U.S. Secretary of State says government awaits Nigeria's response to #EndSARS panel report. And ASU and federal government reach agreement on demands. We're glad to have you join us for news now. I am Folashade Ogurinde. The U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken on Thursday met with President Muhammadu Buhari in the presidential villa in Abuja. Issues regarding human rights, democracy and security, as well as climate change, were discussed during the meeting. Expressing his appreciation for the recent approval of Nigeria from a U.S. watch list of countries that violate religious freedoms, President Buhari said no one should be discriminated against on the basis of his religion. Details in this report.
Tied by common goals in political leadership and economic prosperity, bilateral relations between Africa's biggest democracy, Nigeria, and the United States of America has spanned beyond decades. At this meeting, which marked the first official U.S.-Nigerian meeting since Biden assumed office in 2021, matters on bilateral cooperation, including climate change, security, and pandemic response, took center stage. Addressing journalists on the outcome of the meeting, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken drew emphasis on the panel report of the #EndSARS protest, which indicted the Nigerian army for loss of lives at the Lekki toll gate.
To that end, let me say that we welcome the conclusion of the investigation by the independent inquiry established by the Lagos state government to look into the events that took place near Lekki toll gate in Lagos in October of 2020. This, of course, was amidst the EndSARS protests, including the killings and other alleged abuses by the security forces. We anticipate and look to the state and the federal government's response to the findings and expect those to include steps that ensure accountability and address the grievances of the victims.
Still on insecurity, the U.S. Secretary of State noted Nigeria's need for aid in battling terrorism and insurgency. He, however, stressed the need to address human rights abuses by the military.
The United States continues to build the capacity, together with Nigeria, of the military, including through the recent delivery of 12 A-29 Super Tucano aircraft. We're also providing more human rights and rule of law training because military and civilian security forces are more effective when they act in accordance with these values, and because it's crucial that Nigeria hold accountable members of the military who commit abuses.
In his response, Foreign Affairs Minister Geoffrey Oyema assured of government's determination to ensure transparency in all inquiries on the #EndSARS panels. He, however, implored the U.S. government to ease the regime of U.S. visa application.
The regime of visa applications to the United States embassies. And so, of course, we had a mechanism, the drop box mechanism, and now a lot of us, and because of COVID has, of course, exacerbated everything, have very long waiting times to even secure interviews for their visa applications. And so this is an area that we hope that, we can really look at and try to find, some solution to.
Oyema, while urging the U.S. government to redeem pledges made to support Africa's fight against climate change, called for support in ensuring gas as an alternative to fossil fuel.
We noticed that a number of the big industrialized countries and financial institutions are now defunding projects and gas projects, and of course this would really be a huge blow for countries such as ours that really want to see gas as a transition fuel, and to have time in which to work towards a net zero 2050-2016 net zero emission, but in the meantime to be able to also continue to use gas.
The U.S. Secretary of State's visit to Kenya and Nigeria comes amid concerns over China's commercial and cultural dominance in Africa. Folashade Ogurinde, TV360 News.
Moving on, President Muhammadu Buhari has said the demand for an unconditional release of the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu, is a difficult one, but he would consider the demand made by highly respected Igbo greats. He received a delegation comprising traditional and religious leaders of the Igbo extraction at the State House in Abuja. Stressing his policy of non-interference with the judiciary, he said when Kanu jumped bail, got arrested and was brought back to the country, details of the meeting were not disclosed, as the delegation declined to speak with the State House correspondents afterwards. Kanu was first arrested in 2015 on charges bordering on terrorism, treasonable felony, managing an unlawful society, publication of defamatory matter, illegal possession of firearms, and improper importation of goods. He was initially detained and arraigned in court, but he fled the country in 2017 after he was granted bail for medical reasons. The Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, on Thursday broke out a truce between the federal government and the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, as the parties agreed on 4 major issues. The foremost academic body gave a nod at a meeting the Speaker convened at the National Assembly in Abuja. Anita Patrick has more in this report.
There are indications that the planned strike by the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, will no longer hold. This followed the intervention of the House of Representatives Speaker Femi Gbajabiamila. At this meeting attended by all parties involved, it was agreed that the government's representatives will make available within 1 week the sum of 30 billion Naira University's revitalization fund for an onward payment to ASU members. It was also agreed that the federal government would sort out the 22 billion Naira earned academic allowances components from the education sector budget, amongst others.
I'm concerned that the chairman said that there are some staff that have up to 17 months of salaries not paid. I haven't got any such report. We have a report here that shows 4 universities that sent list, and we have finished paying them. So if the report doesn't come to us, then we will not be able to act on it. So please let us know which universities those are, and let the universities give us the information. We check, and if it is verified, we pay them. I want to appeal to ASU to please not use this weapon or threat of strike, because it's not good for our children and it's not good for the nation.
There is nothing that ASU is saying that we do not agree with. There's no reason for them to go on strike at all. We've actually submitted the letter to the National Assembly for mainstreaming of this earned allowances. If we didn't think so, sir, we wouldn't have submitted the letter. We did. The National Assembly, by its own laws, may not necessarily be the person to do this. I'm sure they will upscale this to the National Wages and Salaries Commission so that they can then put some sort of guidance around it. So we've done our part. Everything that they've asked us to do, we've done.
On his part, the president of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, Victor Osodeke, urged the federal government to honor the agreement of 1.3 trillion Naira revitalization fund, which the last release was 20 million Naira in 2017.
We agreed at that meeting that we should not enroll until we have finished this year and supply. And they wrote here that when they come here and finish registration, they will be paid. Which means what they were doing is trying to blackmail the people to come and register. You go somebody's salary.
While addressing all parties involved on the need to reach an agreement, the Speaker, Femi Gbajabiamila, appealed to the academic union to have faith in the promises made by the 2 ministers and step down the strike.
It's a lot of money, but we cannot have an agreement and then later on say, oh, the money is too much. My appeal is going to be to ASU, but also honestly, Honorable Minister, we need to resolve this thing once and for all.
The parties agreed to set up a tripartite committee comprising members of the union, the government and the National Assembly to resume in 1 week and work out modalities for the resumption of the renegotiation on the 2009 agreements between the union and the government. Anita Patrick, TV360, Abuja.
The House of Representatives has taken steps to remove the Code of Conduct Tribunal (CCT) from the control of the executive arm of government and domicile it in the judiciary as an independent arm of government. Sponsored by Solomon Bob and Olajide Olatunbosun, the bill proposes to amend principally sections of the Constitution that deals with superior courts of record and sought to incorporate the CCT among them. Leading debate on the bill, he said the provisions clearly clothe the tribunal as a judicial power with the powers of a competent court of record, adding that failure to situate it under the judiciary arm of government is contrary to the principle of separation of powers.
The punishments which the Code of Conduct Tribunal may impose shall include any of the following: A. Vacation of office or seats in any legislative house, as the case may be. B. Disqualification from membership of the legislative house and from holding of any public office for a period not exceeding 10 years. C. Seizure and forfeiture to the state of any property acquired in abuse or corruption of office. The above provisions clearly clothe the tribunal with a judicial body, as a judicial body with the powers of a competent court of record. The failure to situate the tribunal under the judicial arm of government thus runs contrary to the principle and practice of separation of powers in a presidential democracy, such as we professedly practice.
More than 7,000 people have applied for the federal government's 5,000 housing units built under the National Housing Program 1 week after the launch. The Minister of Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, disclosed this on Thursday while briefing members of the Senate Committee on Housing on the program. Fashola said out of the over 7,315 applications received from Nigerians, as of noon on Thursday, 7,216 were pending, while 99 had been submitted successfully. The minister said the current National Housing Program is a pilot or demonstration scheme meant, among others, to galvanize private sector participation. On housing deficit, the minister said the committee chaired by Senator Sam Ego, the solution to it was not just on bidding of houses, but marketing the empty ones. Moving on, railway workers in the country have commenced a 3-day warning strike grounding rail services nationwide. The workers commenced a strike on Thursday and shut down passenger and cargo train services of the Nigerian Railway Corporation (NRC) in Abuja, the nation's capital. Workers in Idu locked the station and displayed various placards in protest, while at Mobolaji Johnson train station in Ebute Metta in Lagos, aggrieved workers were also seen with placards lamenting poor welfare and poor salary. The NRC employees, under the aegis of the Nigerian Union of Railway Workers, earlier on Wednesday vowed to halt train operations nationwide, including services on the popular Lagos-Ibadan, Abuja-Kaduna and Warri-Ikpa routes. I will take a break here, but still to come, federal government flags of mass national campaign to achieve set target of COVID-19 vaccination. For details of the story and more right after this break.
In the last 3 years, we have built a multi-purpose center, which is the envy of all in our constituency. And I can tell you that the people who are living there are already enjoying it.
Guy, do you think what this man just said is true? See, I seriously doubt. I'm sure it's one of those their silly lies.
And wait up. Do you know there's a way to find out if these things he's saying is true or not? This is the Construct app. It gives people like us a sure way to track implementation of constituency projects. It gives valid and verified information on location of projects, amounts allocated, amount funded, the level of job done, and even the profiles of concerned legislators. You and I can post directly on this app.
Are you serious?
This is the go-to app if you want to know how our Commonwealth is been expended by the government.
Wow. Let's even see if what this man said is true. Show me.
The Construct app is developed by Other People Nigeria with support from USAID and is available on both Google Play Store and Apple Store.
That is true.
Of course, I told you.
Hello? Yeah, I found your wallet in front of a supermarket. Meet me at Apple Junction. Yes, I'll be waiting for you.
Now we find out. Two of us.
Thank you very much, officer. You know, it's surprising that men like you still exist in the police force.
Yes, oh, yes.
This is just a token of my appreciation.
Oh, no, you don't need to do this. We are only doing our job.
Thank you very much. God bless you.
You're welcome.
Now I know police is really my friend.
Yes.
Friend. Hey. Which game was with this one? I don't understand.
You know your problem. You are greedy. I'm a policeman who is doing his job. All forms of corruption in the force. Not in my country.
Corruption not in my country.
Now here is a recap of some of our top stories tonight. President Muhammadu Buhari has said the demand for unconditional release of the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB Nnamdi Kanu, is a difficult one, but he would consider the demand made by highly respected Igbo leaders. He received a delegation comprising traditional and religious leaders of the Igbo extraction at the State House in Abuja, stressing the policy of non-interference with the judiciary. He said when Kanu jumped bail, got arrested and was brought back to the country, but details of the meeting were not disclosed as the delegation declined to speak with State House correspondents. And in case you missed any of our news bulletin, or for more updates, do log on to our website on www.tv360nigeria.com. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Google Plus at TV360 Nigeria. On Facebook, we are at TV360 Online. The Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC, on Thursday has confirmed 61 cases have been reported in 9 states, including the FCT. According to the agency, Gombe and Taraba led with 16 and 15 cases respectively, while Bauchi, Delta and Castina reported 1 case each. 47 people were discharged after they recovered from the infection, while no fatality was reported, bringing the total number of confirmed cases of COVID-19 in the country to 213,464. The federal government has ramped up its mass COVID-19 vaccination drive following the national flag-off of the campaign on Friday in Abuja. Secretary to the government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, at the ceremony said the initiative is with a view for Nigeria to inoculate half of its targeted population by the end of January 2022. Mustafa, who is the head of the Presidential Steering Committee on COVID-19, further added that Nigeria is far from achieving the national target of vaccinating 70% of its eligible target population towards attaining herd immunity by 2022.
I must inform Nigerians that we are far from achieving the national target of vaccinating 70% of our eligible target population to move Nigeria towards attaining herd immunity by 2022.
According to the situation report of COVID-19 vaccination reaching me, just about 5,985,000 persons have been vaccinated with the first dose, and 3,336,000 persons out of these have received their second dose. as at the 18th of November 2021, and this is out of a total target population of 101,776 persons. From these figures, we can see that we are not where we want to be with the present pace of vaccination.
Let us remember that this year is ending fast and we're going to be experiencing mass travels and gathering of festivities. This period is indeed a high-risk one for the spread of COVID-19. We are all stakeholders in each other's health and well-being. We must therefore join hands and hearts to protect one another against COVID-19. What the data released by the NCDC shows is that over 80% of people who have died from COVID-19 are those who are unvaccinated.
We'll take a break here, return with more stories and business. To stay with us. Well, up next is business news and stock market review with Mary Kanu. Over to you, Mary.
Well, thank you, Folashade. And in business, Governor of Lagos State Babajide Sanwo-Olu says the state requires $15 billion within 5 years for infrastructure due to its rising population and limited geographical space. Sanwo-Olu said this on Thursday at the third Lagos Investors Roundtable organized by the State Office of Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, and Investment. He emphasized the importance of building strategic relationships with investors to foster the ongoing economic recovery from the combined effects of the COVID-19 pandemic, climate change, and global inflation. We'll take a break and return with a review of the stock market. Don't go away. What a week it has been for the Nigerian Exchange Group, with the bear taking control of 4 days in the trading week and the last trading day of the week. The all-share index closed in the red, down at 0.20% as investors saw over 45 billion naira shed off their investments. Now, this pullback can be attributed to sell-offs in some giant oil and gas and financial services stocks represented by Eternal and NGX Group. Now, despite the losses, 16 equities recorded gains as Unity Bank and Regalins topped the gainers chart. Now, at the close of trading, 199 million volume of shares were traded in 3,917 deals. Now, moving on to the global scene, it is a mixed last trading day for these selected stocks as the UK stock FTSE and the US stock Dow Jones have been dragged to a low of 0.43% and 0.45% as a result of a surge of COVID-19 cases and lockdowns in Europe, while Asian stock Nikkei is currently trading in the green at 0.50%. Well, that's all on the review of the stock market. Back to Folashade.
Well, up next is Entertainment Report on News Now.
Award-winning singer Davido has sent a cryptic message amid his 100 million naira challenge, which has raked in 185 million naira in donations. Since the singer began his call for donations on Wednesday, he has since been sharing proof on his Instagram stories to display the numbers of senders and the amount sent. However, on Friday, the singer on Twitter posted, "Might give it all away." Although Davido did not state what he was referring to, it is not out of place that the message might be related to the money he received from colleagues and fans. Nigerian rapper Modupe Olateru Olagbegi, popularly known as Mo Cheddar, have welcomed a baby. The excited new mom shared this news on Friday. Sharing her experience, Mo Cheddar revealed that the last couple of months have been the most beautiful and challenging for her. Congratulations to Mo Cheddar. And that's all there is on the entertainment segment of News Now.
Away from entertainment and now to sports, the Minister of Youth and Sports Development, Sunday Diary, says the report of the Nigerian Football Federation (NFF) on the performance of the team in recent matches played will soon be ready. The minister was said this when he appeared at the ministerial press briefing organized by the presidential media team at the presidential villa in Abuja. Added that the NFF will review the performances of the team before taking necessary action concerning the national football players and the technical staff. Our correspondent Mary Kanu now reports.
Nigeria's sports sector has been trolled by controversies surrounding the coordination of the sports ministry. From accusations of owing allowances to neglect and breach of contract, the sports ministry has come under attack by stakeholders and sports lovers alike. Following these call-outs, the Minister of Youth and Sports Development, Sunday Diary, has made clarifications on the Puma deal, but the sports ministry was accused of breach of contract, saying the case was in court.
There's a court case going on at the Abuja Magistrate Court. Before we got there, there was a full police investigation by the IG of the Puma deal. Out of that investigation, what came out led to the court case. So to a very large extent, I'm limited on my comment on that. In that court case, it is between the AFN and Doe and Puma. The ministry has no role whatsoever in the contract that took place with Puma. I can't comment beyond that because the case is ongoing. What was portrayed was not only orchestrated, it was deliberate, it was planned and executed to embarrass the ministry and government.
Speaking on accusations of non-payment of athletes' allowances, Dara explained that the ministry made payment to athletes who made their bank account details available for payment.
We went to Olympics. We said the two teams should provide their bank accounts. We needed 24 bank accounts. We got 12. Central Bank said, look, these are foreign accounts. We need to have all of the accounts because of the processes to transfer this money. So we had to wait for the male basketball team. After 6 weeks, the ministry went back and said, well, listen, we're not sure we're going to get the other 12 accounts soon. Can you go ahead? It was within that week we had that. No money was diverted.
Debunking reports that head coach of the Super Eagles, Gernot Rohr, had been sacked following an unimpressive performance by the team in the race to Qatar 2022 World Cup. Dari said the report submitted by the technical committee will be studied to determine Rohr's fate.
Once we have national matches like a standard operating procedure, first, the NFF will receive a technical report that analyzes the game. And based on that, it will be subject to review and scrutiny, benchmarked, and thereafter they take a decision, either about the players, either about the coaching staff or the technical crew.
Rohr, who was appointed head coach of the Super Eagles in August 2016, has led the team in 54 international games, winning 28 of those matches, including a third-place finish at the 2019 Africa Cup of Nations in Egypt. Mary Kanu, TV360, Nigeria.
And it's a wrap on our news bulletin. Many thanks for watching. I am Folashade for Green Day. Bye for now.